everybody. Hello, and welcome to our first conversation. I'm super excited. But I am with Ashley Sauls, and I absolutely love that she is rocking her tiara tonight. Hearts, all the feels, all the feels. I wanted my tiara, but like I was telling her before we hopped on here, yeah, a migraine sidelined the whole tiara thing. But I am so excited that she's rocking it. Um, but basically, what I have a heart to do is this crown rocking business is an everyday thing. It's not like you put on your crown one day and then tomorrow you don't. So I think it would be pretty awesome to actually hear from people every day, just everyday women doing their thing, living their lives, and how you rock your crown in your everyday life. To kind of, I just never want us to feel alone, and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm over here trying to be awesome and I'm in the land of awesomeness by myself. Just kind of like, hey, no, there's a whole bunch of us. We're in this together. You have help. You are not alone. So, thank you so, so much, Ashley, for joining me and for agreeing to be my first one. Um, and now I have a new app on my phone. So, this should make the next conversations even easier. Yay.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. So, really quick, I would like for you to introduce yourself. Kind of give us, just kind of, I know, sort of, but just tell us who you are, what you're about, what you do, all of that stuff.
All right. Well, I want to honor you and thank you, Jasmine, for having me as your guest. I am super excited and thank you for you guys who are joining in. So I would preface myself by saying I'm a woman who enjoys sisterhood now, but that has not always been the case because I was one of those sisterhood friends who said, I don't do other women.
Mm.
And God had to really deal with me about that because it's like, you don't like yourself then, you are a woman. So, why don't you like to be around other people? And I know we'll probably get into that some more. Other than that, as a reformed person who's learning to love my sister friends, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. I have 3 amazing sisters. I'm a parent of puppies.
No,
And
puppy parent.
yes, and just a lover of Jesus.
Yay, I like it. I like it. Sometimes I think puppies would be easier. But then they fall asleep and then they look so cute. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but look at your little face. But yeah. And speaking of puppies, we just got a puppy today. So I'm just,
Yay.
yeah, someone at Walmart had all these puppies and then my little heartstrings tug. So I'll have to ask for pointers on being a puppy mom because, yeah, the last couple times was disaster. Um, so, so we're not going to talk about puppy parenting, but I do want to kind of talk about. You touched on in your intro about how you weren't always the best or always wanting to be a sister friend or have sister friends. Um, with, I guess, going into as much detail as you want to or don't want to, why was that?
Good question. A lot of the hurt in relationships that I experienced were with people that I considered sister friends. And it can go as far back as the playground. I was the type of girl who wanted to be friends with everybody.
Gotcha.
I didn't meet a stranger, but I can remember that I got my ears pierced. And some people have something where they keloid. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that,
Oh, yep,
but it's
yep.
basically you cannot wear pierced earrings. You can wear clipped earrings. And so I remember at that time going through it, being devastated as a kid and then having friends saying, what's that? Oh, that looks strange.
Mm.
What's wrong with you? And that was the first place that happened. But then as I got older and, you go through high school, you go through
Mm-hmm.
college, you start to really understand what friendship is and really isn't. But because I felt that everyone was automatically my friend, that
Okay.
I was in those places where I got hurt very, very easily. And that's where I started to say, you know what? I don't do women, I don't do sister friends because they don't care about you, they don't love you. So it was from a place of hurt. And it was also
Gotcha.
from a place of not understanding what friendship was really about, because your real friends are not going to do that to you.
Right, right. And I think I like that you touched on. I mean, I don't like it because I don't like that you went through that. But I do think that a lot of us have been hurt by our friends or so called friends. And just in hearing you talk, I don't think we always, I know for me, just now I'm thinking about it because you said it, that we don't always realize that it goes that far back, that it's even as deep as, the playground, that, oh, wait, that's where I started to get that notion. I think of all like the bigger interactions as I got older, but kind of forget that, wait a second, that started somewhere. It didn't just start in high school. Like I got it from somewhere or some experience or some a particular person. So yeah. Yeah. So having gone through that, how did you even recognize that that was an issue?
Gotcha. Not easily, because I was still going to be okay. I was going to kick and scream and say, I don't
Hmm.
do women, or I would even connect with. So I got smart, I thought, and I became
Yeah.
friends with other women who said, I don't do other women either. So
Ah.
that is bitterness, and sometimes we make friendships out of a bitter root. And so that was my attempt to saying, okay, well, I can do women, but just not every woman. I can just do women
Mm-hmm.
who share the same struggle or same bitterness. What helped me to come out was God showing me myself and showing that that's not even a healthy way to be. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, first of all, you are a woman. So how can you say, I don't like women? Are you saying that you don't like yourself either? But then at the same time, realizing that every woman is not the same. So we could probably all have stories of, Sally or Sue or Jill who just weren't very nice to us on the playground, or they weren't
Mm-hmm.
nice in high school. But if we based our relationships on that one person, then we're missing out because, like you're great, Jasmine. So I would have been missing out on people like you and some of the ladies who are joining us tonight if I kept that mindset. So it was gradual, it took time, but then God showed me women who were really loving, who were not the way that some of those people who, I met before were hurtful, and to
Yeah.
be open to it.
Mm. What was that process like though? Like that initial, like, okay, I think maybe you're cool. I'm getting all the vibes that, maybe we can kick it and I might actually like you. How did you go about kind of, because I would think, especially if you're in a mindset for a long time, that this is how I deal with women, um, how did you kind of start to bridge that gap between this is who I am, I don't deal with you, and okay, I baby steps, maybe I'll try it. Like, what were those baby steps in between that helped you then be like, huh, okay, maybe not everybody is, you know, an evil stepsister?
Right, that's good. It was baby steps and it was taking a risk. So, and I'll have to say my husband helped to really push me on that, because he would say, hey, where are your friends at? You need to have
Mm.
friends, because he is the more social one out of us. So that was one thing that pushed me to really think about it. But then as far as taking the steps, it was taking a risk. Maybe saying, okay, this friendship might take a little bit, but let's go out to
Hmm.
coffee. Can we go to tea? Everybody likes to eat. Can we just do dinner?
Right.
And, it doesn't have to be something super serious, but it's getting to know another person. So for me, that's where it started, is just having those simple conversations. Let's go to tea, let's go to dinner, and then allowing the relationship to grow. And with growth comes trust. So it wasn't that, we had this tea and then I'm spilling all the beans of my life,
You
because I'm
start
not one
spilling
of
all
them.
the tea. Yeah.
But it was like, okay, can I trust you with this? Can I,
Mm,
and as you develop that trust, then you can build a greater relationship where those darker or painful points, you can trust that person with it. But it wasn't just spilling the tea all at once.
gotcha. And in that, like, just little, give us, I guess, and I know it'll be different for everybody, just kind of given on your level of being comfortable. But what are some of like those little initial like, hey, I'll trust you with this, or I'll trust you with this? Like, can you give us an example or two of like what those little baby incremental baby steps were or are or can be?
Gotcha. So, and I know because I can be a walled sister, meaning that I can put up a wall really quick if the
Mm-hmm.
relationship seems to go south. And so what had to learn how to do is to be open enough. So if someone was saying, "Hey, I'm having a bad day," for
Mm-hmm.
example, instead of being someone to say, "Oh, it's going to get better," which it is, or
Mm-hmm.
just going into the cheerleader mode, instead of saying, "Hey, I'm having a great day," or, "My day is okay," being honest to say, "You know what? My day was a little rough too." And that opened the door for conversation, because sometimes the reason why it's so hard to have that relationship is because one person is transparent and one person's just rah rah cheerleader, or not being deep at all,
Mm-hmm.
or saying, "How can I help you?" Which I've fallen into that trap before too. I want to help people, but
Right.
then if they ask how I'm doing, "Oh, I'm okay." But
Mm-hmm.
okay means I don't want you to ask me anything else, because you're digging a little bit deeper. So that was one example, is
Hmm.
just learning, to be okay with saying, "My day was rough." And then that opens the door for that person to share with me. Another thing is just seeing the consistency and
Hmm.
making sure that I'm a consistent friend, but also being open to the people who are as well. So, if I want, the Bible says, if you want to have friends, you have
Mm-hmm.
to show yourself friendly. So I couldn't, yell, "Women are bad, blah, blah, blah," and
Right.
not being a friend. So, being available, but then also being open to friends being available to me, because that also shows
Mm.
the depth. Now, not anything crazy as far as, you have to be here every time,
Right. Right.
cry, scream, yell, but can you really be here for this type of situation? Or maybe you're a friend that's too much for you. And my expectation, we need to be clear about what that is. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can't help with something that's deeper or darker. You might just be that encouraging friend. And
Right.
to be okay with that's the role that person plays, instead of saying, "Well, you need to be here in my time of crisis. You need to wipe my tears. You need to pick me up when we fall." So you learn something by being consistent, and that person will share, what they can and cannot do.
I think just in hearing it, I think that's been a large hindrance. I think not just in like in the world in circular circles, but I think just even with like within the church, within our Christian friends, is that lack of transparency. And I don't think that we always do it intentionally, but I think especially with our world of social media and not actually being necessarily always connected one on one, it's very easy to be whoever you want to be. If somebody's texting you, "Hey, how are you doing?" It's way easier to text back fine or doing okay than to be like, "Well, actually, this is going on." And I think that's an important thing to kind of let me listening to it, but even everyone watching, that is to give yourself that permission to be transparent. And like you said, it doesn't have to be every single little thing about your life, like your entire life story all at once, but to give ourselves permission to trust other people with our story. And I think like you showed, you have to be able to trust people with the little stuff before you can trust them with the really big stuff. But you never know that if you don't give them little stuff to be trusted with.
Right. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. No, I like that. I guess I thought about it, but I don't think we always really think about um, how even though we're more connected than ever, we're not really always connecting with each other. So I think that's huge. Um, and that's also part of the reason that I was excited that you're one of the first, well, you are the first one on these conversations. Was I think sisterhood, real true sisterhood, is big, and I think it's lacking. We all need friends. Like we all need somebody that you can call when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're having a good day, when you're having a bad day. But on the flip side, because we're women and we like to be needed and we need to nurture, I do think friendship also helps with that, because then we feel like, hey, like I helped somebody, or I was able to be there for somebody today, or, you know, I could step in and be the cheerleader sometimes, or the shoulder to cry on. Or maybe I was a homegirl that was like, okay, for real, like you need to snap out of this because I love you, but you're being an idiot right now. And let's, you know,
Right.
let's keep it moving. Um, so I guess for you, what is in your, like, what do you see as maybe the breakdowns in society, like even just smaller in, you know, Facebook groups and now Christian groups, but to you, what do you think the biggest breakdown is in us being sisters, and like truly sisters, and what do you think is like one of the major things we can do to start to bridge that gap and come back to, you know, to sisterhood again?
All right. I'm going to go to what you've been talking about as rocking our crowns. And as women, a lot of times we feel intimidated by the crown of another woman because
Mm,
it might not, my crown doesn't happen to have very many stones. Yours might have a whole lot. That's where we feel intimidated. And we
mm,
also feel competition instead of realizing that the crown that we have, we're graced to wear. And the crown
mm,
that our sister has to wear, she's graced to wear. So one of the problems is us really understanding and being secure with how we are, who we are,
mm,
and then celebrating that someone is the way that they are. So that's a breakdown that we have to work on, because so many times we are trying to be the next Beyonce, or we're
mm,
trying to be the next housewife, or I'm trying
mm.
to be the next Jasmine, but there's only one Jasmine. Um, you can't be something that you're not. And so that's something that we have to work on. And to do that, we have to start with ourselves. So
Mm,
I have to learn how to be okay with how Ashley is. I
mm,
have to be okay with how I sound, how I dress, how I look, because that's unique to me.
mhm,
And then when I can embrace that I am how God made me to be, then I won't feel bad that someone else's crown is rocking a certain way. I can celebrate my sister more because I see that God put value in her, and
mm,
it's only what she can rock. I can't rock it that way, but she can, and I ought to celebrate that.
mm. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot, I think, because that's partly my mission with the whole crown rocking thing, and why I asked that question in the beginning. Um, you know, as new members join, is, you know, in your mind, what do you think your crown looks like? And I think it's crazy beautiful how everybody, not a single person that has answered that question ever has the same answer. It might be flowers. I mean, some, you know, like I like my bling, but I like that we're all different. And like you said, if we can embrace that difference without being threatened by it, that's where I think the magic happens. Which I know, you know, I messaged you this in on Messenger, but it's like for one of the reasons that I said I can't be you. However, I recognize that you have like a just a much softer, gentler way of being that is not me. However, I can celebrate it in you. Now, it would be easy to be like, well, I'm not Ashley, so we can't be friends because she talks too soft and she's much more gentler than I am. And so we can't be friends, instead of what um, I'm hoping to show now and be like, no, like I sell it, like, do you. Like, I love it that you do you, because that takes the pressure off of me, because I could have somebody soft and nurturing in the group and then I don't have to be that. Well, I just have to be me, but then I don't have to be you. So I do think that that's definitely a valid point, is to understand, like you said, that your crown is your crown and that they have been given their crown. and that you don't have to rock it the same. You just have to help each other keep it on straight. That's it. Right?
Right.
Just help each other keep it on your head. All right, like that's yeah. So for you, what do you think? I mean, we've kind of touched on some of them now, but kind of going forward from the pointers that you have given, um, what do you envision, or what is something you wish we embraced about sisterhood? Like, what is something that you're like, man, if we as a group, if we as a body, if we as kingdom people, um, as sisters in the kingdom, and working together, living in the world, if we could just embrace this about sisterhood, and if we could live like this and create an atmosphere of this, what would the this be?
Okay, good question. And it would be to embrace difference.
Mm,
Because sometimes we think of differences as a negative, that because you might like bling and I don't like bling, then we have to have a problem. So let's
mm,
argue about that, because differences are preferences. They're not things
mm,
that are life or death. They're not things
mm,
that deal with your health or your safety. It's just you like bling and maybe someone else doesn't. And we get those kind of things turned around, and we find a way to be more against each other because someone is
mm,
different, instead of saying, I can love her difference, even if I don't get it. And I think we miss that too. We want to
mm,
understand why she's different and she's not like the rest of us. You
mm,
might not understand her difference, because that might be a God-given, just innate difference about her. But even though she is different, you can still celebrate her because she's unique. God made
mm.
all of us unique and different for a reason, because he did not want all of us to be the same. He did not want us to all look the same, dress the same, talk the same, feel the same.
Right.
And again, that doesn't take away from core things like we should love one another.
Mm,
We should be about peace and not violence. Those are core things. Those are things we should agree on. But if you like to rock your hair to the right, to the left, you like pigtails, do you like afro puffs? Those things are just differences, and we don't have to disagree about that. Just learn to celebrate.
oh, I like that. Celebrate. And because it's going to happen and differences will happen, and you, um, I guess my thing is, I'm like, yeah, you should respect the difference, and like, we're going to have differences. It is what it is. Now, within your group of sisters, what are some pointers you can give us for when disagreements do happen, or how to best like maintain that sisterhood but still be able to be like, hey, when this happened, I felt some type of way, or like, how can we lovingly check each other, I guess, and but keep the sisterhood intact when things like that happen?
Gotcha. So I have to do that all the time, because one thing is, sometimes the way that I see things is not the same way that a sister friend sees things. So
Mm.
and I say that for me because I can be quiet, but I can have a quick check you kind of space sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at myself to see, in the situation, was someone, for my more forceful friends, were they trying to be mean or not? Because just because I'm soft or gentler, and they're
Oh,
not,
I need
doesn't
my
mean.
charger. Keep talking. I'm getting my charger.
Just because someone is a little bit different in the way that they deliver something does not mean that that's a place for me to be angry. Sometimes we get frustrated because our sister friend is speaking truth. And so what we do is we try to find a way of disconnecting ourselves from that
Mm-hmm.
sister friend because she is different, or she's saying something that we might not want to hear. So my first place is to see, am I even seeing this right? And then the second thing is, you have to ask questions, because sometimes we again find a way to separate ourselves from each other, instead of saying, hey, did you really mean this way?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you not mean it this way? And then if we interpreted it wrong, or sometimes we might even respond wrong, because I've done that too. Just, flow, just off
Mm-hmm.
the handle. Be sisterly enough to say, you know what, I missed it. Or if
Mm.
you're a little snappy, don't put it on the other person, or say, well, God has covered it, he's forgiven it. But you
Right.
offended somebody. And you
Right.
want apologies, but you have to be willing to extend the apology when you are wrong instead of looking at your sisters as public enemy number one. So that's another thing. And then I always ask God, how am I supposed to address this? Because
Mm.
some things are conversations, some
Mm-hmm.
things are prayer. And by that, I
Mm.
mean, sometimes our sister friends do things out of hurt or not even really being aware of it. And
Right.
that's not to make an excuse of it. But there
Mm-hmm.
have been times where I thought, well, God, I'm about to go and tell them exactly, I felt this, you made me feel like this, da 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 da. And he said, don't say a word in that situation. Because right now, your
Mm.
sister friend is going through something. She's responding out of hurt. The first thing you need to do is to pray for her, to cover her, or even to do something nice for her. Give your sister friend a gift.
Mm.
Because sometimes she needs to be encouraged. Maybe she's responding because she feels like her crown is really falling over, one
Mm-hmm.
way or the other. And so if you came to her right now, she would feel even more crushed because she feels some type of feeling in herself. And she's
Right.
responding out of her own pain, not really out of your interaction. And so I've had that happen too. And again, it was just the wisdom that he gave me in that situation. So being open to the communication, but also being willing to say, in those moments when he says, don't say a word, just
Mm-hmm.
pray, being okay with that instead of saying, well, I'm about to tell her what I think because she needs
Mm-hmm.
to know. I'm going to fully tell her.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna
Sometimes,
learn today.
yes,
No, that's good. Um, and you touched on um, the fact, which I'm happy you touched on that, of having God, having Holy Spirit in our friendships. Um, especially, I feel as kingdom women, as as Christian women, rocking our crowns together. That's one of, if not the most important thing that binds us, is the very fact that we've all been adopted by the same heavenly Father, that he looked at each and every one of us and was like, I pick you, I pick you, I pick you. So more than just us having the free will to pick each other as friends, we've also been handpicked by the Creator. We've been handpicked by um, the Father in heaven. Like, we're all of us are His babies, and He felt it worthy for all of us to have a crown on. So, um, so I do like that you touched on having Him as part of our friendships too, and not just um kind of out there and something that we keep for Sunday at church, but truly that this crown rocking thing is a day by day thing. It affects, even within our sisterhoods and our friendships, that he should be invited into that space too. And like you said, it would save us a lot more hurt and drama and trouble if we recognized he gave them their crown too, so they're loved just as much by him as I am. And number two, I think, like you said, getting that discernment to where you could have gone off on somebody, but because you took the time to check in, you got, I guess, like more clarity on what's actually going on with your sister, to where you can have an even stronger friendship because you didn't just, run off at the mouth and, like ruin a friendship for no reason when a quick check in is like all that was necessary.
that's right.
Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Okay. I don't want it to be super long because I want people to actually listen to the whole thing. Because then, otherwise, I'm gonna have to check some people. No, I'm kidding. No. No. Um, but I do want to ask, I guess, what are some really pressing things, or what do you think is really important that you want to share with us as we kind of close, about sisterhood and friendship? Just kind of watching your posts on Facebook. Um, and again, why I wanted you on is I feel very strongly that you have um, tapped into this sisterhood thing in a way we don't always actively think about. And I do think um, that we need genuine sisterhood in our lives. And with, with distance and all of that, I get that it's not always, you can't always meet people face to face. But what are some pointers that you can give us, even with this virtual world we live in, to maintain or to create and foster and nurture real, true sisterhoods? Oh
Gotcha.
my gosh, my sweatpants are in the back. Don't be looking at my sweatpants.
No, I can't see anything.
Oh, good. All right, don't look at my sweatpants.
I would say the key thing is making sure that we step outside of our world sometimes and
Mm,
we see what's going on with our sisters. That's a biggie because, I can get into my own space and, I'm so busy or I'm so tired or I have so much to do or I'm going through something that I miss that there's a sister friend who's they're tired, they're worn out,
mm,
they're sad as well. And so what that is empathy. Empathy is the ability to reach outside of your own world to say to someone that I understand. Not
mm,
that, oh girl, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's sympathy.
mm-hmm,
Sympathy
mm-hmm,
doesn't move you forward. Empathy says, I see where you're going. I'm going to be here for you. But then
mm,
I can be a pillar of strength when you need it. But then you being empathetic back is when I need strength, you can be that as well. And
right.
so I think that sometimes we just need to reach out, check on your friends, see
Mm,
how they're doing, ask how people are doing. Even in a virtual space, reach out, see what's going on in someone's world. If you know someone even closer, give them a phone call. You doing all right today? If you're
mm,
not local, send them a card. Any way to give a personal touch of, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, you matter to me. I just want to know
mm,
what's going on. And then again, be consistent. So sometimes we say, girl, I love you when it's convenient. Like, oh, Jasmine,
mm.
this is going to be beneficial to me. I want to rock with
Right,
you again.
right,
So, girl, I love you. And then you can't find me when it's not to build myself. And this is
right.
for business sisters, platform sisters, that can be disturbing that we're so busy building a platform for ourselves that we don't understand that you got to love your sister. It's not about what you can get out of her,
Mm,
but it's what can you contribute to her. So we have to
mm,
be consistent, reach out consistently, not just birthdays, just not Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, whatever the pattern is, but just check on her. And then to love her, love all of her. Yes,
mm,
your sister's going to have flaws. She's going to have faults. She's not going to be everything that you think she should be, and she's
mm,
not going to be because she has to be all that God wants her to be. But you've
mm,
got to love her, and love her is more than just a word. It's showing her
mm,
in action, and it's showing by being consistent, is showing by asking her questions. What do you need? Do you need a shoulder to cry on? Or do
mm.
you need wisdom? Not me saying, well, I think, Jasmine, I think I'm going to tell you what you need. That's where we
Right,
another
right.
conversation. But asking her, what can I do? How can I serve you? And being willing to be that for her.
Mm, mm. I like that. I like that. Um, yeah, thanks for coming on. I like that too because it's something that I have actually written down to actually work on this year. Um, just just like you said, it's so easy to get just caught up in your own life, in your own drama, and then time passes, and then you're like, oh wait. And so I do think it's about being intentional about those relationships. Um, I guess I don't think that, which I think you kind of touched on in the beginning. I don't believe that you're going to have the same level of friendship with every single woman that comes into your path. But I do think, like you said, being consistent in whatever level of relationship that is. If it's, if y'all are the type of friends that, you can ask, hey, can I pray for you? Making sure you do that. Um, if it's someone you can see locally, checking in on them locally. But whatever level of friendship that is, maintaining that consistency, I think. Just even within the group, there's some women in my group that I talk to y'all a lot more, or I talk to just like on Messenger and stuff. Whereas there's some relationships in the group where we're cool, we just don't kick it like that. But that doesn't mean that I love them any less. I think, like you said, the key is to still love them within whatever that sisterhood looks like, that friendship looks like. So, well, that's all my questions. But thank you so much for being on here. I truly appreciate it. I'm sure I will have you in the group a lot more, kind of helping foster that sisterhood and friendship that is so. I mean, we need it. We can all, like you said, we can all be like, oh no, I don't need friends, but we do. Um, so it'd be good to make sure that we're nurturing and fostering good friendships and the right friendships and friendships where you can grow and I can grow and everybody's living their best lives, and we can all go to Cancun on vacation
Right.
or Jamaica or somewhere, anywhere. I'm just ready for a vacation. I don't care. Oklahoma City. We'll just go to our vacation. But thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for rocking your tiara. And thank you for all of the pointers, all of the tips, all of the insights. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you too, Jasmine.
Yay! All right. Well, you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will catch you in the group and in Messenger and all of that fun stuff. Thank you again. And I think my husband just got done cooking. So there's pork chops with my name on them, and I'm hungry. So your girl's going to go eat. But thank you.